The grandfather clock in the Anderson estate chimed softly as the day's last golden light poured through the tall windows. Daniel Anderson, a 41-year-old tech entrepreneur and widower of 3 years, sat in silence in his study, sipping cold coffee and watching his 7-year-old son, Jamie, play with Lego bricks on the carpet. Across the room, a quiet figure moved gracefully. Anna, the nanny. She was in her mid-20s, modest, kind-eyed, and always soft-spoken. Since she had joined them a year ago, Jamie had laughed more, smiled more, slept better. And though Daniel noticed her warmth, her patience, and the way she filled empty spaces in their home, he never pried into her life. She arrived at 7:30 a.m. sharp and left, precisely at 6 p.m. No questions asked, but something tugged at Daniel that afternoon: curiosity, or maybe a quiet ache he didn't want to name. "Where do you go every evening?" he had asked once, trying to sound casual. Anna had only smiled gently. "Just home, sir," but it wasn't the full truth. He knew it in his bones. So that Friday, after she waved goodbye and kissed Jamie on the forehead, Daniel followed her. He kept a respectable distance in his sleek black SUV, feeling ridiculous and strangely nervous, like a teenager sneaking out of the house. Anna didn't take the subway. She didn't call a ride. Instead, she walked past 3 blocks, past the florist that had closed down months ago, past the bakery that reminded him of Sunday mornings with his late wife. Then she turned into a part of the city Daniel hadn't seen in years: run-down buildings, flickering streetlights, and cracked sidewalks littered with dreams and dust. She stopped at an old brick building. Paint peeled from the doors. The steps creaked as she climbed them. Daniel parked, waited a moment, and followed on foot, heart pounding for reasons he couldn't explain. He peeked in through the dusty glass. What he saw shook him. Inside was a tiny room, bare walls, a small table, 2 plastic chairs, a broken heater, and a cot where an elderly woman lay beneath thin blankets. Anna was kneeling beside her, stroking her hair and whispering prayers softly in a language Daniel didn't know. The old woman opened her eyes slowly and smiled. Anna helped her sit up and brought out containers from her bag, leftovers from the Anderson home, neatly packed. She began feeding the woman, humming a lullaby as if the world outside had paused. Daniel couldn't move, couldn't speak. His throat burned. He left before she noticed him, quietly returning to his car and driving home in silence, the weight of her secret kindness pressing on his heart. The next day, Daniel didn't mention anything, but he saw Anna differently now, like someone with a light that couldn't be dimmed. Later that week, he waited until Jamie was asleep and called her into the study. "I have a question," he said gently. "Why didn't you tell me about her, the woman, your mother?" Anna stiffened. For a moment, her composure wavered, and her eyes shimmered. "I didn't want you to think I took this job out of pity," she whispered. "I needed work, yes, but I stayed because of Jamie." Daniel stood slowly, walked to her, and handed her an envelope. "What is this?" she asked, puzzled. "A key," he replied, "to a new apartment, 2 bedrooms, safe neighborhood, and enough to cover your mother's treatment." Tears welled in her eyes. "I can't accept this. You already gave us more than you know," Daniel said, voice raw. "You brought life back into this house, into Jamie, into me." And before he could think twice, he added softly, "Maybe we can bring light back into yours, too." The days that followed weren't like fairy tales. They were better. Anna's mother received the care she needed. Jamie began calling her Miss Sunshine. And Daniel, for the first time in years, felt something blooming in the quiet moments, a feeling that maybe love didn't die. It just waited for the right person to awaken it again. And it all started with a man following a nanny, only to discover the most beautiful truth he never expected.